Hey, my name is Ryan Duncan. I'm a six-figure entrepreneur, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about why athletes can be great at entrepreneurship. Now, throughout the course of this video, I'm going to share with you a story about the levels of success that I had as an athlete, the battles I struggled with trying to move into entrepreneurship, and how I unlocked it. And so when I was 9 years old, I was one of Australia's best cyclists in junior racing. Throughout a 3-year period, I'd only lost 2 races, and in both of those races, I either crashed out from someone else or I placed second in the race. Now, when I was a cyclist, I trained with my father, and my father was amazing at coaching me, and we would show up every single day. And as a cyclist, my strategy to how I won races was to be an endurance rider, someone that could keep up the pace of the race as fast as possible at all times from start to finish. And whenever someone would catch up to me, my competition, I would attack and they would catch up, and I would attack again and they would catch up and I would attack again. And this mindset was something that I had at such a young age that I never knew how to unlock. And so from the period after cycling, I moved into ice hockey. I played at a national level and succeeded very well. I went to a state level for swimming, and I had had lots of success in sport. But as my life went through, I moved into music. I did quite well at that, went to a music college, and then I ended up having a degree in film and television by the age of 18. I was able to work with some amazing companies, but this is where the story gets bad. You see, because I had this drive and such a great level of success from such a young age, I always thought things would come easy to me. And throughout film, throughout working at these marketing and creative agencies, I started to realize that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And when you have this drive inside of you that you know you can be great, and throughout the last few years, I have moved away from sport. And I had lost that thing that made me feel great. I lost the success I had where people knew me as the fucking guy. People would not want to show up to those races because I was going to be there, because I was going to win. And finding this when I was trying to create my business, trying to be an entrepreneur, was very, very difficult. And one of the reasons why was because, first of all, I didn't have the same level of success. I had success as an employee. I was able to work for one of the biggest entrepreneurial companies in Australia with Jack Delosa, called The Entourage. I was the short form content editor for The Diary of a CEO, which is the biggest podcast in Europe and I think almost the world now. And so I had these minuscule successes where I leveled up quickly, but I let things like procrastination, laziness, and somewhat uninterest in what I was doing get the better of me. And so I started to move into having shiny object syndrome. I started to indulge in, say, taking some drugs, only weed. But I moved into a space where I was letting myself go because I let these things take over where I was. And they took over my mindset. And in business, every single year, I always said to myself, this is the year that I make $1 million. And I was always thinking back to that time when I was a cyclist. And I only started to realize how to approach business in the right way as a previous successful athlete when I realized that all I needed to do was think back to the time where I had the drive to keep attacking, to keep going, and to build the endurance. And the only way that I became successful in cycling was because I never gave up. When the going gets tough, I get tougher. It's a Lance Armstrong quote. I know the dude took drugs and, he wrecked his career and did those things. But when the going gets tough, I get tougher. And with entrepreneurship, I needed to figure out a way to unlock that. And so the first thing that I did was I started to think back to the time when I was 9 years old, and I used that as my motivation, because the only way you get to having discipline and consistency in what you do is to have complete and utter motivation to get yourself out of a hole and use the things around you as the fuel to the fire. And so you wake up one day and you're like, today's the day that I will not procrastinate. I will not do things. And to start my journey into actually being successful in entrepreneurship after having tried it for a good 6, almost 7 years prior, the first thing I did was I quit alcohol. I wasn't addicted to alcohol, but I made a decision to remove something from my life and see if I could be consistent with that. And when I did that, the opportunity of Skool came my way. And that's what I do today after a year of doing it. I run communities and build communities online, and I make 6 figures a year with it. I'm working towards doing 6 figures a month, and that's my next process as I move into year 2 of being an entrepreneur that's been consistent in what I do. And I had to unlock that one specific thing, which was the drive to make it work. And so how do you do that? Well, start removing the things that do not add to your life. The partying, the things that if you are an athlete, you know that drinking and doing drugs and going to parties and staying up late and not working what you need to do not allow for you to be the most successful, healthy, most committed person possible in your life and in the sport that you're competing in. Because the person that is doing the right things will outcompete you every single time, even if you're more talented than them. And so I've been gifted with who I am as a person. I can learn things quickly. I can implement things quickly. I have a natural gift for sales. And hopefully, if you're resonating with this, speaking in front of camera and sharing a story, I had these things in place, but I wasn't doing much with it because I had a lot of other things that never allowed me to be successful. And so I started to remove things from my life. And when Skool came around, I chose to be consistent. I made the choice to say, I will not quit on this. And having the right attitude towards having success with Skool allowed me to start to push back on the things that would not allow me to get there. Because if you are someone who's moving into entrepreneurship, you would know that a lot of people in life pull you down from it. You might have parents that are saying, just go get a job and get money. You might be sitting there broke saying, shit, maybe they're right, maybe this isn't for me. And you have to fight that, because when you hit a level of success in the sport that you're in, you push through all of that and you prove to people that you're the best at what you do. And so you have to do that with business. You have to adopt that athlete mindset to get yourself there. And one of the things that I really, really attached myself to was the story of Kobe Bryant. It was the Mamba mentality, the guy that showed up to the gym before everyone else and left after everyone else left. And when Kobe moved from basketball to business, I was excited to see how the athlete mindset would actually transition into the business world. And with the loss of Kobe, obviously we never got to see that. And it makes me very emotional to know that someone with such grit and such grit and such a strong mindset would have been able to do something good for the business world and share the story of transitioning the athlete mindset. And I find myself here a year after being consistent with business, still thinking back to that time where he could have done that. And when I think to that, I could have been the person that was just stuck in my own way and not found the unlock of achieving what I wanted to do, because in life you have new passions. I'm not obsessed with doing sport anymore. The sport of cycling is just drug-ridden and it's not something I want to be a part of. And I always had passion and purpose to being a leader, running my own communities, making sales and making a shit ton of money. And to kind of let my 9-year-old self be more successful and have a stronger mindset than myself today at 24 was just something I was never going to let happen. And so I always think back to what would have Kobe done and how would he have approached it. And I have had my ups and downs throughout the year of being consistent, but I never gave up on the one thing that needed to keep going, which was just stay strong through all things and make all things happen, because you can only control what you can control. And to start this year off, it's February 3rd today. I have spent over the last month about 18 hours a day working on my business. And I am somewhat successful, but there is so much more that I can do and bring to the world. Hence creating content for YouTube, hence sharing my story and how I connect the mindset to growing in business, because I can give you the roadmap to success, but if you can't show up and put in the right effort, then you won't succeed. The people that take just the initial action and keep the consistency going will always beat the person that just has talent. And so if you are someone who is an athlete who wants to move into entrepreneurship, I hope that over my last year, you can take that time, that process, and just implement it from day one, which is remove the bullshit. I don't have social media. I have YouTube and I've got Skool, and that's it. I just use those things. I've deactivated my accounts. I'm completely removed from it because it doesn't help me be the athlete that I am in business. And if you are someone that is struggling with that, I encourage you to comment below. Share your story, share your sport, share your success, flex on us and tell us the person that you are today. And also talk about if you want to be an entrepreneur and how you're going about that. And also in the description, I've got my free community where I teach people how to make money online with Skool. If you want to look at building a community and do what I do and connect with someone that shares the same struggles that you might be going through today, I encourage you to join. I recently took a good amount of like 60 people through a boot camp, and my last call in the boot camp had 9 people on that call, and 8 out of the 9 people made their first sale after creating their communities and sharing their passion, interest, and skill online, with one person doing their first $10,000 a month. All of that is in writing and in receipts. I'm very transparent with what I do, but if you are an athlete and you want to succeed in business, I hope that this video changes your life.